The polar ice caps on Mars are receding dramatically. Mars is experiencing global warming. Saturn is experiencing global warming. Jupiter is experiencing global warming. Every planet in the solar system is experiencing global warming. So perhaps supporters of the man-made global warming theory are in fact global warming deniers, because they are denying that global warming is occurring in the rest of the solar system, and they are supporting the fact that man is responsible. Now look, don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting mining and I'm not supporting the coal industry. I'm not saying we should continue trashing our planet because we're not responsible for global warming and so we can do what we want. Absolutely not. I absolutely support protecting the environment, but I don't support having the entire planet run by one monetary system and one global government in order to protect us from a naturally occurring event that happens in repeating cycles that is completely beyond our control. Bringing in a governing body to protect me from something such as that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And I'm sure if people really look at things, it will make no sense to them either. This is nothing more than a system of control that will be able to do absolutely nothing whatsoever to protect people from global warming. That's the thing, you see. And the Copenhagen Treaty also talks about a transference of wealth, transferring wealth from first world countries to third world countries in payment of what they call a climate debt. I believe that some wealth should be transferred to third world countries, absolutely. But I believe that the wealth that should be transferred should come from the banking and corporate interests that have gone out and raped these countries to begin with. Now think about the shareholders of the International Monetary Fund who run the central banking system. All of these central banks lend money to all governments that have a central bank. The people of all of those countries are taxed in order to pay off interest on the loan. Because of this corrupt setup, we now have families such as the Rothschild family that own about 60% of the world's wealth. Now this is one family, folks. They own over half of the world's wealth. And you look at the ties of families like this to these corporate magnates and these huge corporate interests that have gone out and completely raped the world. And now what they want to do is they want to just even out the wealth that's left. So this won't be bringing third world countries up to our standard of living. It will be taking the entire world back to about the level of a second world country. The entire globe. And meanwhile, you have these banking magnates, the top 1% of society, that are living in absolute wealth and controlling and puppeteering every single thing that goes on this planet, exploiting every single person and every single resource. This entire system of control that this planet functions under is completely corrupt, and it functions because we comply with it. So this is where the transfer of wealth should come from. We need to end the fractional reserve banking system. We need to put the power to print money back into the hands of government. We need to sack all of our governments, all of them. Every single government in the Western world is a bunch of criminals. They all need to be sacked, every single one of them, without question. And we need to distribute the wealth from the bankster criminals who have raped the world and stolen the wealth of the world through their corrupt system that we have all agreed to go along with. And we need to use the wealth of these families to fix up the damage that they've done in countries such as Africa and all around the world. Look at what these people have done, folks. Like, it's hard to see anywhere on the planet that hasn't been touched by these people in some way. That's what needs to happen, folks. We need to stop going along with this system. And we don't need war. We can simply do it peacefully. But the way to do it is to wake people up. This is why it's important to spread information. This is why I do what I do, folks, because hopefully these radio shows might get to the right ear. They might wake up Joe Public down the road who never wanted to listen before. Maybe if he just finally hears how things are run and the penny drops, that this entire system is corrupt and we can peacefully change it, Maybe the cogs will start turning. Maybe people will understand the power that they've got. Maybe we can avoid mass depopulation. Maybe we can avoid violent revolution. Maybe we can avoid succumbing to false ego and seeing every other person and every other establishment and every other country as a false threat. Maybe we can see the connection we've got to each other, and maybe we can change this world into the type of world it should be. It'd be very easy for us to do, folks. We can still have our technology. We just do things right. Start doing things honestly. We start doing things from a humanitarian perspective and an environmental perspective rather than from an economic perspective. And we look after everybody. There's no reason for anybody on this planet to be homeless. There's no reason for any wars to be fought. There's no reason for anyone to starve. There is no reason why every single person on this earth shouldn't be looked after, and looked after well. There is no reason that 1% of the world's population should control well over half the world's wealth. This is the problem. But when you look at it deeper, you've got to understand that these people aren't the problem. The controlling interests, the Rothschilds, all of these people aren't the problem. The problem is we, the people, let this continue. We let this occur. We allow the world to be run this way by our passive compliance with this system. And it's all very well for people building their little cultures and living in the hills and getting back to the earth and doing all this sort of stuff. But they also need to realize that there is only one self. We are all part of the self. You can create a good environment for your own experience, but you can't ignore the plight of others. You've got to look at what's happening to the rest of the world and look at what you are allowing to take place by failing to look at and address this issue. Some people will say, where attention goes, the energy flows, and believe that by even acknowledging this stuff, then you're giving power to it. But they're doing exactly what the New Age movement has taught them to do. Ignore a problem in order for the problem to be perpetuated. We can easily address these problems. We just have to do it from a center of love. And if everybody does the right thing in all that they do all the time, well, the problems would go away very easily. It's just stepping away from fear, forgetting what others think about you, forgetting what you perceive it will do to your social status, and stand up and do the right thing. Speak out and stand up for what's right. Realize that there's only one self. And if there's one person suffering so someone else can have a better life, then things are out of balance, and we need to fix this.